Hello and welcome to a fresh episode of Sport Vibes on DNTWOK. The world of sports remains ever buzzing, and we are here yet again to serve you some of the very latest emanating from this exciting realm. My name is Bolaji, the sports pilot, and I will have the privilege of taking you on this tour. So sit back and enjoy. We start with the game of hockey. Let's start with the 2022 Men's Hockey African Cup of Nations, and we also add the tournament for the women holding at the same time in Ghana. The 2022 Men's African Hockey Cup of Nations ended, and of course it was all about the team South Africa yet again. Hockey is a game that has not been reckoned with as much as the likes of football in Africa. Nonetheless, it is fast gaining momentum, and of course South Africa were the teams to beat before the tournament, and they still remain that team to look up to for the rest of the African sides. Because talk about the ladies side, let's start with the women's wing, because for South Africa it was the 7th consecutive title for them at the 2022 Women's Hockey Africa Cup of Nations. South Africa defeated the host nation Ghana 3-1, and that means that since Zimbabwe emerged champions at the very first edition in 1990, South Africa has gone on to win all other tournaments that has been hosted. Talking about golf in class, and you see something similar to this in the women's football with Nigeria, the Super Falcons of Nigeria dominating, and it gives you the impression that other teams are still catching up, and you'd expect that is something. It will be good for our sports, for other teams to just close the gap as soon as possible. But right now, both the men's and women's wing, South Africa are not stepping their foot off the pedal. On the men's wing as well, they defeated Egypt. Still talking about Team South Africa defeating Egypt via penalties, because Egypt really gave them a run for their money. But experience for the South African side counted at the end of the match as they went on to win the tournament. And of course, there's so much to say, but shifting our gaze a little bit away from the South African team, we had other teams impress. Nigeria, for the first time on the men's wing of this competition, emerged third, winning the bronze medal in a very, very exciting third place match, defeating Kenya 4-2. In previous tournaments, like in the year 1974, 2005, and of course 2009, the Nigerian men's hockey team have been able to clinch the 4th position, but this time around they were able to take a step further and get that bronze medal. Who knows what they will do next at the next tournament, but of course we keep our fingers crossed, and this is so good for sports. We personally from DNTWOK, we love to see sports thrive on every continent. And what does that mean for both teams? Talking about the South African men and women's hockey national team, that means that they have qualified for the World Cups in their various categories. The men have qualified for the 2023 International Hockey Federation, the FIH World Cup, which we hold in India in the year 2023, while the women have qualified for the International Hockey Federation World Cup, the FIH Women's World Cup, that will be holding in Spain, co-hosted by Spain and the Netherlands this same year 2022. So we keep our fingers crossed. Really, we expect the very best from this realm in the world of sports. So let's take a quick break now. When we come back, we talk tennis. I fought for every point. I can't be sad about that. I'm not God. I can't win every match. Those are not my words. Those were the comments of Japanese women's tennis player Naomi Osaka, reacting to her defeat at the hands of American Amanda Anisimova at the Australian Open. And of course, talking about Osaka, there's quite a number of things that has been said. Several top tennis players of the past coming out to say this woman, this young lady, if you'd like to call her that way, may not come back to that top form we saw her, emerge on the scene with. You're talking about a young lady several years ago in the year 2018 that defeated tennis legend Serena Williams at the US Open final, and then went on to win the Australian Open in the year 2019, came back again with the US Open victory in the year 2020, and then last edition of Australian Open in 2021. But this time around, there seems to be quite a lot going on behind the scene for her. It's been coming, she sacked or changed her coach at some point in her career. That took a bit of toll on her progress, and you also want to consider what she came to the forefront with last year, discussing her mental health issues. And several guys have said that this might just be that hindrance, putting yourself to the forefront and allowing people to focus on you and some areas of your life as a star that you don't want them to know. But for Osaka, for us here, we just choose to believe she can still bounce back. That is what champions do. There are challenges for everyone, but she seems to be that lady with a strength of character that can see her come through this kind of situation. So for Osaka, it doesn't seem as everything is working out right now, but we just see this is someone who's been involved in activism and several things. She's not just about tennis, and she's Japanese, of course, so there should be a bit of warrior mentality in there, and that's on a lighter note. But we keep our fingers crossed and expect the very best. The Australian Open is still ongoing. Several guys are still doing so well for themselves. And now we talk about football after this short break. Thank you so much for staying with us on Sport Vibes. The year 2022, if you have observed closely, one thing that has been peculiar is a tendency for favorite defending champions to just get disappointed so early on. We start with Novak Djokovic not even getting to participate at the Australian Open at all. We talked about Naomi Osaka earlier. We want to talk about Algeria, the Algerian national team already out of the AFCON, because right now we are talking about football and discussing AFCON. It's no longer news that the Algerian national team, who were the defending champions, have been knocked out. It was a dismal turnout for them. But the one that catches the eye the more is talking about the Super Eagles of Nigeria. No one gave them the chance. Quite a number of things happened behind the scene. They sacked their previous coach, Genotro. They had quite a number of their stars not released by their clubs. And then going into the tournament, to many people's surprise, they nullified arguably the best player in the world right now in person of Mohamed Salah, defeating Salah's team, Egypt, 1-0. It could have been more for those that saw the match. And you look at how they strode past the likes of Guinea-Bissau and Sudan in the group match. They were the only team to get maximum points in the tournament at the group stage level. But to the surprise of many, it wouldn't have been surprising before the tournament if you said Tunisia would defeat the Super Eagles of Nigeria. But so it happened. Tunisia were able to see off the Nigerian Super Eagles with just a 0-0. This was a Tunisian national team that had quite a number of COVID-19 cases. Their coach was not even at the touchline on the match night. And you're talking about the Super Eagles side, high on confidence, getting victories, and quite a number of their players, Moses Simon and Trust Ekong, the defender, getting nominated as part of the best players in the group stage. But as it is with tournaments, it's not about your pedigree, especially when you're at this phase. It's not about your pedigree, it's not about the last match. You need to know the match. The 90 minutes is all that makes a difference. We saw something similar in 2019 with Egypt. Egypt were the host nation, qualified with maximum points, and then they got knocked out by South Africa. Morocco had 9 points as well in that same competition in the group stages, but they got knocked out by the Republic of Benin. So for Tunisia, many people claim they qualified through the back door. They were the best, one of the best losers, but it's not about that right now. They are into the quarterfinals, and you never can tell. We've seen teams start the tournament on a worse note than Tunisia have, and then go on to secure the title. So it's about momentum when it comes to tournaments. Just take it a win after the other, and don't get ahead of yourself. So for the Super Eagles, it's disappointing, but they can't afford to be disappointed for too much time, because right now Austin Iguavon, the interim coach, would have to excuse, would have to leave and step back for Jose Peseiro, the newly appointed Portuguese manager, to come on the scene, because they have a very, very crucial clash ahead of them. They've been drawn against their fierce West African rivals, Ghana, in the FIFA World Cup qualifier, talking about Qatar 2022. they will be having the playoffs very soon, and they have to just get these defeats, these disappointments behind them and focus on what lies ahead. So for them and for the rest of the teams still participating in the AFCON, we just wish them the very best and expect the very best from the tournaments, regardless of the teams that are out already. So now let's move to European football. The January transfer window is gradually wrapping up. The month of January is coming to an end. Personally, we believe that, and it is a common belief generally, that the January transfer window is never really that market you get to equip yourself. No, that is for the summer. But this time around, we've seen some teams equip themselves. You want to mention Newcastle and maybe even Barcelona securing major signings, but it's normally for reinforcement, teams battling for relegation, looking to secure players on loan deals, pre-contract agreements to just help their survival quest. And we've seen that quite a lot. But you want to look at teams like Aston Villa. We've seen the Steven Gerrard effect. Philippe Coutinho, a former teammate of Gerrard, coming from Barcelona to join Steven Gerrard in Aston Villa. And of course, they've also signed Lucas Digne of Everton for a fee in the region of £25 million. I'll just try and take you through some of other deals, the major deals we've seen in the transfer window so far, the January transfer market. Chris Wood has also joined Newcastle, the former Burnley striker, now with Newcastle, in a deal believed to be worth across around £25 million. And you also want to talk about Nathan Patterson, more like a replacement in the fullback position for Everton, moving from Rangers to Everton in a deal around £16 million. Vitaly Mykolenko has also joined Everton from Dynamo Kiev. And we have very early on in the transfer window, former Tottenham fullback Kieran Trippier joining Newcastle from Atletico Madrid. Ferran Torres, I mentioned him earlier, securing a move from Manchester City to Barcelona. Quite a number of deals should still be anticipated, talking about major deals and before the transfer window runs out. But I should mention the fact that Carl Jenkinson, if you still remember Carl Jenkinson, Arsenal fans, Premier League fans will still remember him quite well, has joined Melbourne City. Melbourne City is in Australia on loan from Nottingham Forest. So quite a number of deals that are not being mentioned right now, but we're just focusing on some of the major ones, and you could still anticipate some. Of course, Arsenal have been interested in the Serbian striker from Fiorentina, Dusan Vlahovic, for quite a while, but that has been complicated by Juventus's interest, looking to offer Dejan Kulusevski alongside £25 million thereabouts for the man. And it seemed to favor Juventus ahead of Arsenal, but we keep our fingers crossed and see what happens from there. And of course, you also want to mention the fact that Liverpool are monitoring Eduardo Camavinga, the 19-year-old French midfielder who plays for Real Madrid right now. It is believed that Liverpool have been interested in him for quite some time. And you'd also want to mention that of Tottenham Hotspur, Dele Alli, the English midfielder, and of course the Argentine midfielder Giovanni Lo Celso were both left out of their squad against Chelsea in their defeat, the last defeat in the Premier League. You know, Chelsea defeating them 3 times in 3 weeks. That's huge. And but we are not focusing on that right now. We're talking about the fact that these two 25-year-old midfielders could be on their way out. Of course, being 25 means Tottenham could still get quite a very decent deal for them when players are still young. Relatively, they seem to want more. So for Dele Alli, his career has not been progressive as much as many thought. With the way he started, PFA Young Player of the Year, you know, scoring goals back to back and all these things, but that is how it is. You can't write him off just yet. For Lo Celso, signed for PSG from way back, and then had a very decent spell with Real Betis, scoring quite a number of goals also before being signed by Tottenham Hotspur, but it has not really clicked for him. Injuries have hampered his progress as well, but for Tottenham Hotspur, they should also be looking to get players in. Antonio Conte, we believe, is that kind of manager that would want to have his type of players come into the squad. So we just expect the very best, the best for our own sports, and that is how far we go. On this week, we are not transferring to anywhere yet. We remain with you. We'll keep serving you the very best and reinforcing as much as we can too. ensure you subscribe to our channel DNTWOK right now. If you have not done that yet, ensure you subscribe and follow us across our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and LinkedIn. My name is Bolaji, Alimi, the Sport Pilot. Thank you so much for staying with us. Bye for now.